Behind me are two of the world's largest tech malls in the entire world, combining for over 17 floors worth of tech. With everything from camera gear to PC repair shops to PC component dealers, and even some of your favorite brands have their own stores in these malls. And today we're gonna go explore all 17 floors of these two buildings to find the coolest tech. And the first of the two buildings that we're gonna take a look at is called the Guang Hua Digital Plaza. It's the older of the two buildings, and it's got a lot of really cool like repair shops and PC building hardware inside. Because if we enter on the main floor here, we can see that it almost looks like the inside of a Best Buy, except for you'll see a lot of those big brands like Gigabyte, MSI, Asus, ROG, HP, with their kind of like own dedicated stores. Stores are pretty similar inside. You're gonna see things like monitors, you're gonna see laptops, and then even PC hardware, which is pretty sweet to see all on display. We also have a whole range of pre-builts that you can buy, including one with an RTX 5090 inside. Door we have MSI, where look at that, that's an RTX 5080 that happens to be in stock. And there's no shortage of GPUs here at all. Definitely something you're not seeing in the States right now. Also kind of interesting is the sheer amount of laptops that are in a place like this. Because if you look around, all these places, they're primarily selling laptops on this main floor. So there's pretty much every single brand that you can imagine. You see like Acer over there, Asus, HP, Lenovo. They all have their own dedicated space with a ton of different models. I mean, we don't see that even at our large retailers like a Micro Center or a Best Buy in the States. Just have every single model that's been out or is coming out. I mean, there's just so many different options here. And this has just been the first section of the first floor. Let me tell you, from my experience being here last year, it just keeps getting better. Onto the other side of this same floor, we'll see more brands. It looks like this stuff's not set up just entirely yet. A lot of different accessories and stuff. And then some other stores that I don't think are officially open just yet. We are a little early in the day. So let's head upstairs, because that's where some of my favorite stores from last year are actually at. Instead of going from those like more flagship looking stores, you go to almost like a tech market. See some brands that you'll recognize like Dark Flash, but the stuff I love are the independent shops where you can buy pretty much anything to build a PC. Places like this have absolutely everything you could imagine. Motherboards, GPUs, every single model that you could even think about buying, RAM, SSDs, just case options too. Cases of CPUs. This thing's all pretty clearly laid out. You'll see all these different charts up here. It's kind of hard to see them all on the camera, but basically the best conversion back to the US dollar is 0.033. And we can see if these prices are kind of fair if we look at that P310 1TB SSD listed at $19.99. Well, if you convert that to the US dollar, that's about the same price or maybe even a little cheaper than what you would pay in the US right now. It's about $65. It's one of many different dealers. I mean, this place has the exact same situation. They'll actually help you put the system together. They'll assemble them, repair them, and they can sell you pretty much anything that you could think of. I mean, the cases of CPUs are incredible. The motherboards and GPUs and just everything inside is great. And if we're wondering why we can't get our own stuff in the States, well, maybe this is why. And from like a technician's perspective, one of the cool things that I love about these places is that all these different shops, I talked to them last year, is that they'll repair your computer, they'll build you a computer too if you want to, help you put it together, whatever you need, they'll basically do all that service for you. Another option that actually has a lot of cases on display, I don't recognize any of the brands except for, this is an MSI case, but one I haven't seen before. Also has a lot of different peripherals from name brands. So you'll see the Razers, the Asus, even Logitech has a large selection. This is definitely my favorite mouse of all time, the MX Master 3S, and a ton of different monitor options. Or the branded stuff, so like the MSI. This is kind of like what we saw downstairs, just like another version of it. It looks like just another vendor where they pretty much only sell MSI hardware. We'll see like that's a 5070 from MSI. We got motherboards, GPUs, cases, all from MSI as well. But that's not right there. That's a CM1000? I don't know. That looks like that may have a system inside of it running some of these monitors. A card that's been pretty much impossible to come by, at least at MSRP, a 9070 XT, which is pretty crazy to see, and they have a lot of options here. I mean, this place also has a lot more cases. Looks to be a lot of the same suppliers, same brands. So Sigma Tech, Mavoli. I mean, let me know if you guys have heard about these brands before, because some of these I'm not familiar with. And when I think about it being here, what it reminds me of back in the States is like a flea market if it was all tech, because you definitely have some of like the name brands that do show up, but you also see some like very small mom and pop style operations that are being run here, which is just a little different than what you would expect. And there's a lot of these like peripheral shops too, so you know, controllers. We actually got a bunch of different gear for racing simulators in here as well. We have a system currently being worked on right at the front desk. It's just a really unique experience, and I've never been anywhere like one of these places before. Crazy part, all that stuff was just the first floor. So let's head up to the next floor to see what we can find. See more of these exact same shops. I mean, the pricing is pretty much comparable between all the different places you look. It's pretty much about the same. These are going to be pre-built systems, so if you guys want to see the pricing for something like that, these are a bunch of different options that they have ready to go that you could basically get done for you just as a general selection, or you can customize them yourself. And this shop actually has a lot of extra stuff I haven't seen, so we go see like a bunch of different coolers from brands. That's Asus, MSI, a couple of these brands I don't recognize. Dark Flash is one I recognize, and then a bunch of different CPU coolers. Everything you need to really build a system. With like the size of these stores, they're not very big. I mean, they're maybe like a couple hundred square feet each, or maybe not even that. And then you basically have a bunch of them lined up side by side, kind of almost like roll-up doors. It's very similar to like storage units. Like just imagine playing something like Storage Hunter Simulator, and then all of a sudden you open one up and it's like a whole Asus store inside. That's basically what it's like. There's a lot of these like accessory stores, and they actually do have a lot of big name brands. I see a lot of Logitech stuff, a lot of TP-Link. There's like some Deco systems in the back there, and then a bunch of different other stuff from pretty much all name brands. Stores for mobile gaming, so we have like Nintendo Switch stuff, all kinds of different accessories for that, PlayStation, Xbox. And then this store here that's labeled Asus, we can actually see a laptop being currently worked on. There's just so many different options where you could build your PC, where you could buy your hardware, where you can get it fixed, and I just love that. Other dealer, we see a bunch of 5090s, 5080s, 5070s. I mean, everything is in stock. It's definitely not as busy. There are a number of these places that seem to be shut down or maybe closed because I am early, but it's just really cool to see all this stuff, and it only gets better because the other building has those flagship stores. They're gonna blow you away. Let's go up to the 4th floor now. The thing that caught my eye is that there's actually some super micro hardware over here. This place has got a bunch of different NASs from Asus Store, Synology, and then they also even have some server stuff from Supermicro, which you just don't see. I mean, there's also stores where you can buy bulk speaker wire, Cat5, all kinds of stuff like that too. So if you need a network or pretty much do anything, I mean, there's even like cable management stores here, which is really cool. If you pretty much need any electronic part, this might just be the place. I mean, not only do they have all the tools, but there's all the little components that you need to basically assemble. I mean, if you have to replace a capacitor, I mean, just look inside this little bin. Everything that you can need is in this place. And not only does this place have a ton of different stuff that you can buy, but they also have a lot of stuff to repair your own stuff as well. So you can see like this place here, they have everything you could think of, from different multimeters to networking equipment to FLIR thermal cameras. That's just really cool to see that all in a single store. These are like those dead units that I'm talking about. There's quite a few of those that hire you up. I'm assuming they just don't get as much traffic as those first couple floors. People don't want to make their way all the way up, and that's probably the case. Then I checked this place out last year. They have a lot of different peripherals. So you got pretty much every different mouse option, keyboard option, headset option from Logitech, Cherry MX, more Logitech gear, a bunch of different mouse pads, microphones, audio gear, cables, and then on that back wall, that's a bunch of networking gear. Pretty much most of the stuff inside of here, we can go up another 2 floors. We're gonna take the stairs this time. I'm a little less interested in the overall categories that we have. The echo in here is probably crazy. That's something I definitely recognize. Some laptop coolers. Let's see if those are any brands I recognize. Looks like they're all from a brand called Sense. Definitely not one I've seen, but these are actually pretty similar models to a lot of the other brands I typically work with. And this one looks to have a thermoelectric module. These are pretty cool if you do have a flat surface laptop, but these fans being on the outside really aren't all that effective. Honestly, you need something with some kind of foam border. If you haven't seen my laptop cooler videos, definitely check those out. It really explains what works and what doesn't. And here's an example of a repair shop. It looks like it's a console repair shop. You can see they have a bunch of different gear and hardware to basically repair different consoles. They got a bunch of PS5s they're working on, looks like some Xbox systems. As a technician, I always love to see like other people's workspaces for how they work on different electronic equipment, just because, you know, sometimes you'll find some like cool instruments or different tools that I haven't used before, and I'm always looking for something to upgrade my setup. So this is gonna be the final floor, floor 6 of the Guang Hua Digital Plaza. Then we're gonna go over to Syntrend, which is the other really cool store with a lot of those flagship stores I was talking about. Right up, this is a store from Kingston, or at least they're showing off some cool Kingston hardware. And look, we got some custom builds, just no GPU. I do love that motherboard. That's that ASRock Carrera motherboard, the Taichi Carrera. That was one of the coolest designs. I remember when that came out. I have had a couple customers bring those in, love them. Definitely a really cool board that ASRock did, I think for like their 20th anniversary. And then this one here, I think it's an 011 Vision build. Nothing too special going on with a BioStar MATX motherboard. Definitely got some questions, but I think they're just trying to showcase the Kingston Fury memory right there. But I do know on this floor there are a couple brands you will recognize, like Western Digital. This is one of their service centers, which is where you could take your drive if it happens to fail to get data recovery done. And check this out, this little case out here, not only does it have an RTX 4090 box there, some new 50 series GPUs, but also take a look, there's a custom build that's almost like halfway finished. I assume they just took the GPU out because they didn't want anybody stealing it, but also the system probably hasn't run in a while, just because it's definitely missing a lot of fluid right now. And then just like the Western Digital Store, this is another data recovery place that you can get your stuff recovered. And then we got Seagate as well. So that's their basically warranty department. Looks like they take care of everything there, and they even sell some hard drives. My repair shop's a mess, but this one is in some rough shape. So that pretty much wraps up everything at the Guang Hua Digital Plaza. So now we're gonna go over to Syntrend, which I believe has 11 or 12 floors of just tech. And it's definitely a little different because there's a lot less of this like repair shop, kind of small mom and pop shops, and they're more like big brands that have their own dedicated stores. Kind of like how the first floor was. It's gonna be very similar to that, but let me show you. So we're back outside. We're gonna go through the front entrance. Although we could have taken the bridge between the two, I kind of wanted to start on the first floor and work our way up because I know on the top floor, that's where the Thermaltake store is. This is the newer of the two tech malls, and they are technically linked, like I said, with those bridges there that you can get across, but let's just take a look around, see what they got. I know there's some really big brands inside here, so definitely some cool stuff. All right, let's walk in. And right off the bat, after entering, we'll see that we have a Samsung store. So they're gonna have pretty much anything that you could think of, Samsung related, everything from monitors, phones, tablets, laptops. And this is one of the real reasons I wanted to showcase this video, was basically because this is the ROG store. And behind me might be one of the biggest reasons I actually wanted to come over to Syntrend. This is the ROG flagship store here in Taipei, Taiwan. And they have everything from gaming laptops, every single model that you can imagine. Their ROG phone setup gear, so you can actually get the phone itself. The cooler is another option that you can pick up. Definitely something I want to try out. And then every single peripheral that you could think of that you would need to possibly game. They have things like different mice and keyboards, switch testers, so you can figure out what switch you want to use. They have headsets, different gear for your bags, different things like accessories, even their wireless headphones. I mean, this is everything that you could think of that ROG makes, they have, and even stuff I didn't even know existed, like luggage. They also have a lot of dedicated hardware, so if you want to see some of their more expansive lineup of different peripherals, as well as motherboards, custom GPUs, stuff like that, all available, and even a 49-inch OLED monitor. Cool thing about having a dedicated store like this is you can actually see some of their hardware in action, play around with it, see it, just kind of get used to it, and see some of these like custom modded builds like they did with this system right here. Definitely one of the coolest themed stores here, but there are a couple others I want to show you as well. So let's head upstairs. See flagship stores from brands like Logitech. Every single accessory that Logitech makes is available here. Brands like Sony even have their own store where they have everything from their phones, headsets, different audio accessories, TVs here in the back, and then a bunch of different camera gear. Pretty much any camera you would want to buy or lens, they got it. And then right next door, we have hinge problems. I'm just joking about that. There's just some models that are kind of a pain. Definitely some cool stuff in the HP store, but what's even cooler is MSI. Different from the ones that we've seen previously, this is more of the flagship style store. So this one, I believe, is actually owned by MSI, and they have a ton of different laptops. Every single model that they make is available here. So I have all kinds of different monitors and even pre-built gaming PCs, Claw 7 and 8, and a ton of different accessories as well. And that does seem to be missing is there's no GPUs, which is kind of what I was hoping for. Visiting the MSI store, we're come across basically a Microsoft store that's built in here. So they got a bunch of different Microsoft products, Surfaces, Surface laptops, pretty much all the options, all available right here. Here's up next, they got a bunch of different products, all their laptops. Nothing too special here or anything too interesting. They do have some cool Predator laptops, as well as a gaming setup here, which honestly, that is a terrible pre-built design. I mean, I get there's some ventilation there, but this thing just looks super cheap. But then we come across Gigabyte and Aorus. Check this dude out. That's so cool. And they got all kinds of different options here. So they got motherboards, so they got their Aero lineup. These are always super nice. Great option for like a white or gray aesthetic. They look like they have a bunch of different laptops available as well. There are other motherboards and GPU options, power supplies, and SSDs. And they have a bunch of those pre-built options that we saw down below. So these are a bunch of different options that they can put together. And I did just find some GPUs, so let me show you. Behind this sign, those are some RTX 5080s and 5070s, along with a bunch of different cooler options. And before we leave this booth, I gotta get a picture with this guy. Right behind that, we have TPLink, who has a bunch of different networking gear, routers, modems, even like AP units. So if you do wanna go ahead and do like a full home network setup with basically power over Ethernet, they have all of that here for 10 gigabit setups, camera setups as well. And if you want the easiest way to pretty much get full coverage in your home, well, the Deco units are some of the best out there. Very easy to use and pretty affordable too. And right behind us, we have Razer, who happens to have so many different options here that I didn't even know they made all these, including their laptops and laptop cooler. I actually have a review coming out on this pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. They have their haptic gaming cushions. I've actually wanted to pick one of these up because I think that would be so cool to have, just to kind of give you that full experience. And they even have the Clio now available here that you can pick up. That's that headrest speaker that we saw like a couple years back at CES, and that finally became a real product. Definitely really cool to see all that. It wouldn't be a Razer booth without a bunch of RGB keyboards. And next up, we got Lenovo, who I'm not sure if you know this, but is the largest vendor of laptops in the entire world. And it's really all thanks to their ThinkPad lineup, which is probably some of the best laptops that you can buy. They're some of the most durable and some of the best performance, like per dollar for what you're gonna get. And they definitely do some really nice things. The Lenovo laptops I usually have a problem with are like the Idea pads, not the ThinkPads. Those are usually pretty cheap, so stay away from those. A little showcase from Corsair here, some keyboards and mice, nothing too special. And then around here, we have the Asus Flagship Store, which Asus and ROG, although they are technically the same, are basically very different brand segments. So the Asus is more of the like consumer facing units. These are gonna be pretty much like their VivoBook lineup of laptops, their all-in-one desktops, and even some of like their pre-built machines. These are gonna be much more basic units. And then ROG is designed to be like their top-of-the-line gaming product lineup. They also have a few other different gaming series. They have the Tough brand, they have the Strix, which is just below the ROG. It's like part of ROG, but just below it. And then there's a couple other small ones. Prime is another gaming-oriented brand that they have. But they definitely do have some ROG stuff here. We can see that there is an ROG wall over here, but there's nothing too special. Just a few different pre-built options, but nothing too special. The vendors in this mall, for the most part, except for the Thermaltake store that we are gonna get to in just a little bit, are mainly focused on like consumer-oriented hardware. So that's gonna be more laptops and desktops these days. So that's probably why we're seeing a lot of those right now. I think I just found my next gaming setup from Game Throne. Check this thing out. This thing's like a full-on Wally chair with a crazy monitor mount. So you can basically have like the perfect gaming setup with maybe like your PC behind you and have all the cables run through the top just to give you that like floating appearance. That's pretty sweet. I don't know what I have to do to be able to get one of those, but definitely something I'd love to have. We saw Logitech on the other side. Well, on the opposite side is Logitech G, Logitech's gaming brand, where they got all kinds of stuff, including this racing sim. Pretty much all their different accessories, so keyboard, mouse, headsets, speakers, pretty much everything, even their Blue products, because if you don't know, Logitech bought Blue a few years back, so like those Yeti microphones, definitely owned by Logitech. I have some colorways that I don't think I've ever seen before. I've never seen this like hot pink color on the keyboard and mouse combo. Definitely pretty cool. There's so many cool brands in this mall. And the crazy thing, that's only the second floor, so let's go up. And now up on floor 3, we have a bunch of different camera companies. So we have Nikon, pretty much all their entire lineup, and even like a VR play space. Looks like there's different options to go ahead and test out different Vive setups, so the HTC stuff. So they got a couple of racing sims, a bunch of different like experiences that you can actually play around with, including some really cool like open space environments. Definitely a lot of cool stuff going on here. It's just so different from like any US mall that you would see. And as this is the camera floor, there are pretty much every single tripod that you could think of. These are all available, and I may actually need to pick one up for Computex just because I did leave the one I wanted to bring at home. The amount of like different camera accessories is pretty crazy here. I mean, everything that you could think of to basically shoot either on your phone, camera, anything, they pretty much have it from different brands. And I just think that's so cool. So I did find one tripod that I like, but I think I might get it at the end just because I don't want to have to carry it for the rest of this video. Another big brand in the States that's here is Cougar. They have a bunch of different really cool gaming chairs, as well as like kind of like a recliner setup. We'll be checking them out while we're here at Computex, so stay tuned for that. Canon also has one of their own stores here, so all pretty much any Canon body and lens setup, printers, it's pretty much all available. Then DJI basically have drones, basically the different camera gimbals, including like the one that I'm shooting on right now, the Osmo Pocket 3. Even have like a test space, it looks like, to go ahead and test out some of those drones in kind of like an enclosed environment. That's pretty cool. So I was looking at another like chair brand when I came across, take a look at this custom build. I mean, that's a fully custom water-cooled gaming PC with a bunch of EK parts. I think that might be an Asus case. I'm not too sure, or yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is just their own branding. That's the name of the brand that sells all like the chairs and desk items. But yeah, that's a really cool gaming PC. Created a really cool effect because they actually put a mirror in the background, which actually allows you to see from the behind the GPU, as well as it makes the entire case just look a little bigger from the inside out. So that's some of the cool stuff on floor 3. Let's go up to floor 4. And floor 4 is a lot of home tech stuff. That's stuff that's like probably not interesting to you guys, so I'm probably not going to cover a bunch of it, but they have a bunch of different like massage chairs, different options for that. I mean, there's like 20 different brands of massage chairs here, and they're all basically the same, but you know, maybe with like different accessories. But I did find something kind of cool from TCL because they have on display a 115-inch QD mini LED display. That thing is beautiful. This monitor is definitely bigger than 49 inches. I'm pretty sure it's like a 57-inch monitor. That thing's super nice. There's one other brand I definitely want to show you on this floor. Okay, I think I found it. And that happens to be Samsung, who has a bunch of really cool stuff here, including their Odyssey G9 gaming monitors, and the monitor I've been wanting to pick up for a long time, the Odyssey Arc. This thing is just massive. There's definitely some other cool home stuff here. There's like a coffee shop in the very middle. Definitely some cool different things, different like chairs and setups, but for the most part, not really the stuff I really want to see, so let's keep going up. And by the way, it looks like there's actually 12 floors here, which is pretty cool. And this is floor 5, the audio floor. So pretty much any headset that you could think of from any brand that you'd want to pick up, pretty much have it here. And brands like Bose have their flagship stores here. And you'll find some of the craziest looking speakers and soundbars up here that you've probably never seen. Bowers & Wilkins have a bunch of different speakers as well. Check out the tubes on this amp right here. TCL also has their entire flagship store here. So they have their authentic lineup on one side, and then they have the traditional JBL speakers, including their massive party boxes. And as far as brands you guys probably care about, those are probably the only ones on floor 5, so let's keep going up. I think we have to go all the way to the top to get the Thermaltake, so that's definitely gonna be a little ways, but I think there's some stuff coming up that you guys might like. And I think we're actually gonna keep going up because floor 6 is pretty much just collectible items. There's some tech stuff, but I think the only thing was there was like a Nintendo store. That's pretty much it. Floor 7 also looks to be kind of boring, so let's keep going. And now that we've made our way all the way up to floor 8, well, this is why I wanted to come here. The Thermaltake store. This is their flagship store with pretty much everything that they sell. With full-on racing sims that you could try out, with triple screen setups, paired with custom gaming PCs. Which all their cases with custom builds inside of them, their chairs, all of their different accessories, so their mouse, keyboards, headsets, different things that you can buy from them, desk, a bunch more PC cases, and then of course thermal products like fans, power supplies, bunch of different colors, including, that's a really cool turquoise color. Bunch of different options as well, all the colors you could think of, including RAM in every color and custom water cooling gear, even water cooling your RAM. All the different fluid options and everything that they sell as far as an accessory, so you can build out your system exactly how you want it. So they got water blocks for your CPU, they got testers for leak testing, flow indicators, screen upgrade kits, radiators, you name it, they got it. And the builds are pretty impressive as well. But what really makes this store so special is this glass room back here. Not only can you buy all the hardware you need to go ahead and build a PC here, you can bring all of it here and they will help you actually do a custom water cooled setup. So they will actually do it with you, or you can actually have them do it and they'll do all the bending of the tubes, running everything, testing it, and making sure that everything works exactly how it's supposed to. It's like its own little mini workshop that you can actually see in the store and see people working on their system. I just think something like that is so cool and unique. You just don't see that anywhere. And it's why it's probably my favorite store in this entire mall, because it combines PC building with the actual hardware all in one location. So I checked out the top couple floors. There really wasn't a whole lot really worth showcasing. So that's pretty much everything inside of Syntrend and the Guang Hua Digital Plaza. Some of the two coolest tech malls in the entire world. They're absolutely massive and it's so many cool products that you just don't see everywhere. And I love just being able to get your hands on it and just seeing all the different options and vendors. Definitely one of the places that you definitely got to check out if you're ever here in Taipei, Taiwan. So with that said, if you guys enjoyed today's video, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.